Don't forget to subscribe, turn on your post notifications bell, and leave a like. I should probably redo that. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on post notifications, and leave a like, guys. Woo! That was awesome.
Previously on Trio.
Usually not too difficult, but it's pretty early. Well, it's not that early, I guess. It's only 10 to 8.
Hey gang, welcome back. Last time on Trio, Krista took you along with her on her trip to the dentist, and we shared some of the costs you can expect to pay when getting dental work done here in Mexico. Then, a storm rolled over Isla Mujeres, wreaking havoc and causing some sailboats out in the anchorage to drag. But luckily, the boats that dragged were okay, and as forecast, the storm dissipated before sunset, and we set sail for Guatemala.
Oh, we just left Isla. We just got the mainsail up, but look at that gorgeous sunset.
But in between all that excitement, we started a new mini-series on our channel called Cooking with Krista on a Catamaran, or maybe just Cooking on a Cat. Subscribe now to our channel, then hit the notifications bell, and you won't miss an episode.
Hey, well, here's an update. It's getting close to midnight. Krista's gone down to sleep. I'll have to talk quiet so she doesn't get woken up. The seas are about 1 meter. We're doing about 6 knots on 9 knots of wind, which is sweet. We have our new feathering props, which are really making a difference. Still off the coast of Mexico. 6 knots of speed. Oh, it's a little bouncy. I'm gonna go inside so you can see my face. And that's it. We're doing great time. I think we're gonna make the reef Turnaf atoll by not tomorrow night, but tomorrow night morning. So 36 hours. Okay, we'll do some fishing tomorrow. The stars are finally coming out, so I guess we'll have some sunshine tomorrow. We'll run a line and hopefully we can catch a mahi-mahi. Talk to you later. Okay, well, here's an update. I started the port engine because we were doing 2.8 knots. Went from doing 6 knots to 2.8 knots as soon as we hit this Yucatan channel current, because we're going into it. And now the seas went from like 1 to 2 feet to 5 to 6 feet, and we're surfing down them. And I have the port engine cranked up at 2,400 RPMs, and we're still only doing 4 knots and we have 10 knots of wind off the beam. So it's stupid in here. The seas are just all over the place. Boats moving in all kinds of weird directions. It's because we're right inside the Yucatan current. So anyway, that's it. I'll show you the numbers. I gotta turn off the light though. You can see 10 knots of wind right from a beam, 11 knots of wind, and we were doing 7 knots of speed on 11 knots of wind. And instead, I'm doing 4.2 with the engine cranked at 2,400 RPMs. Right there. That's Cozumel. Now we're down to 3.7. So we're just beating into this current right now, and I think we're gonna beat into it for another 3 hours. Not fun, and I can barely stand up. It's throwing me all over the place. So I'm gonna say goodbye and get back to the helm because I don't like not being on it. Bye. Wow, it's so frustrating, this Yucatan current. You know, come to think about it, everybody I've talked to has said what a challenge it is trying to get past Cozumel on this Yucatan current. We're still bobbing all over the place, every direction, and we're still got 3 to 4 knots of current against us. So we got both engines going. We got 10, 11, 12 knots of wind, a beam rage, and we're doing 4 knots of speed. We just can't make headway. It's just crazy. And of course it's pitch black, so you're just, you know, it's like riding a roller coaster in the dark. Cole loves it, but me, I'll be glad when we get a little bit farther behind Cozumel and things start to mellow out a bit. Okay, well here's a little bit of an update. We had a horrendous last 16 hours, 18 hours. Last night around 9:30, the seas got really, really stupid and large and confused as we were hitting the Yucatan current. So pitch black, and we were behind Cozumel, and we were in close to 12-foot swells, and it was crazy. It wasn't fun. So we had, and there was no wind, so we had to sail up, but it wasn't doing much, so we had the engines going. And then it's been light all day. We've had about 4 knots of wind, 5 knots of wind, so we've just been running one engine, but now it just started to fill in. Now we got 9 knots. We're still fighting current because we're only doing 6 knots, and the one engine's going. And then we've got a small, well, not a small leak, but a pretty big leak inside the sugar scoop. It's not affecting the engine because it's separate. But as the water fills up there, it's going into the bolts of the ladder and that access panel. And it's making a pain, so I have to pump out with the whale pump. I'll show you the whale pump. Whoa, still a little bit swelly here. I'm still all over the place. That's the whale pump right here. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so we're tired. It was a long night. Cole's up front trying to amuse himself in the bosun's chair, and Chris and I are lying in the sun. So let's go up and have a look and show you where we are in the middle of nowhere off the coast of Mexico. It's a little cool too. It's been a north wind. That's why we had such messed up seas. It was a north wind, and a north wind over a north current made a mess. So even when we were off shift, it was hard to sleep because it was just so confused. The seas are so confused. Anyway, tired. I can't think straight. Talk to you later. Where are ya? Right here. Sundown, and it's about 8 o'clock. I don't know if you can see my face. I got these little fancy lights on here. And the seas are coming from a beam, throwing me around, splashing the boat like crazy. But that's what you get sometimes. So the wind has shifted to the east, and with it, it's shifted the waves to the east. So now we have a beam reach, but we got beam waves. And we got about 48 hours to go to Guatemala. But we're ripping along. We're doing 7 knots on 11 knots of wind, so that's pretty good. Okay, talk to you later. This is night 2. So last night I was saying the winds were behind us, so they were coming out of the north, so it was really cool. Tonight they're coming from the east and a little bit southeast, so it's a crazy amount of temperature
warmer. I still have my sweatshirt and stuff on, but the temperature says 28, and last night it was 22 Celsius, of course. And our lat and long, we're at 19 degrees 02.32 minutes north by 87 degrees 30 minutes 0.39 west. Oh, it's hard for me to hold the camera straight. It's throwing me all over the place. Okay, that's gonna be my last talk for a while. Okay, well, Krista just came up and said she's trying to sleep, and she said these are the worst conditions she can remember. If you're gonna sail down the west coast of the Caribbean, south towards Guatemala, you're in for a challenge. We just passed 2 sailboats. You can see them on the AIS there. Hopefully you can pick that out, those triangles. There, one's a catamaran, a 42-foot catamaran, the other one's a 46-foot monohull. And they are doing 8.5 knots, and we are doing 5.5 knots. And we have 20 knots of wind, which tells me that we are fighting, and we have been all day, because we were doing 3.5 on 17 earlier. We're fighting 2 to 3 knots of current going south, and it's making the seas lumpy. It's making our boat go slow, and it's hard on the crew. And with 3 nights of this, well, 2 nights to get down here, and then we'll be inside the reef at Belize, and the 3rd night should be okay. Whoa. But yeah, I don't recommend sailing south of this coast if you don't have to. I know I'm not doing it ever again. Okay, that's my rant for now. Anyway, gorgeous night, lots of stars out. The seas suck. So it's almost midnight now, and it's just an absolute washing machine out here. I can't even stand without my feet spread apart. We've got 19 knots of wind, 20 knots of wind, and we're barely doing 5.5 knots of speed, because we've got 3 knots of current against us. And I just want you to hear how crazy it is. It's just a washing machine. Poor Kristen and Cole, I'm sure they're not sleeping. The deck is covered in water everywhere. Here it's soaking wet. All the way up front it's soaking wet. Back here it's soaking wet. It's gonna be a long night. So I'm off watch. Krista's on watch. It's morning now. I'm just getting up. But the noise has been incredible. These waves that are all messed up because of the current, they just have us hobby horsing like crazy. So I wanted you to see if you could hear. Wow. Some of the waves, how noisy they are. They're just so short, close together and short and stocky, and just confused. It's just been like this since yesterday at 7 p.m. and it's now 9 a.m. Hey you guys, well, it's midday the next day, and that was a mental night. The Yucatan current, the Gulf Stream coming up the coast of Mexico just played havoc with us all night long.
Oh, it was wicked. It was like the boat was in a bad fight.
Oh, the banging that we were going through. It felt like the boat was going to break up. It was just being smashed upon by the waves. 2 other sailboats went by us doing 3 more knots in speed than us, going the opposite direction. So they were going north, we were going south. They were doing almost 9 knots and we were doing 5, 5.5, and then at times we were down to 3. It's terrible. But now we're about to go into the East Channel at Belize City. Crank that up here. So you can see it says Eastern Channel here. We're here. We're going to go around the corner and head towards inner Belize, behind the reef. And then we sail straight south for Guatemala and Livingston. There's Goff's Key. What a beautiful spot. Just a 5 or 6 palm tree sand island and 1 sailboat, 1 catamaran at anchor there. Oh, full jib and a reefed main, which is what we went through the night with. Actually, Cole and I reefed the jib because we had 24 knots at one point. And the boat is covered in salt, just covered. Well, we're back to Belize and we have 100 miles to go, which is about, I don't know, 3/4 of a day to get us down to Livingston, where we'll clear in, and then we've got Rio Dulce. Okay. That's good. Good sailing. Awesome. Jeez, the sailing.
Now it is.
Sailing, yeah. We're not even behind the reef yet. Alright, check that out. But we're back to eyeball sailing.
Yeah.
And guesstimating on the chart again.
Because there's this spot here that you can see, that drying area where that green spot is.
Yeah,
There.
there's the drying area. That's easy to pick out. It's drying right there, right in front of that other island. Good sailing right now though, great sailing. Alright, so we're in the Eastern Channel and we just made our turn. We're going to take a shortcut. We took it last time. You can see right here it says 12-foot bank. So that's this whole area in here.
Not that it's all 12 feet, it's like 9 feet in some spots, 6 feet in some spots, but we don't have to go through the deep channel because that's where the big ships.
That's where the cruise ships go. And there's a cruise ship here today. So yeah. We've still got some rocks and things to worry about. We know that they might not necessarily be in that position, so Cole and I will go up to the bow and keep an eye on it, and we'll be fine. But that's the way you navigate in Belize, is you use the charts as a reference, and the rest of the stuff you use your eyes and your common sense, and try not to sail at night. Although we were prepared to come in here at night tonight, if that's the way it worked out.
Only because we've been here before and we had a previous track.
Yeah, once you go somewhere, you get what's called a breadcrumb trail. That's that little black line that's here. And that shows you where you're being. So, and it's accurate as GPS is to 1 meter or 3 feet. Okay, I know we'll be fine, so I'll talk to you when I talk to you.
Let's go. Vamos. Dale.
Repítame en inglés y yo.
You're watching Rio.
You're watching Rio.
You're
You're
watching Rio.
watching Rio. Yo
Watching.
en español.
Okay.
Yo saltear Rio.
You're crooked a little bit, Dad.
Yo
You're watching
watching
Rio.
Rio.